Hi.
Hello. Well, hello. Thank you so much for joining me. I have got one of my VA disability clients here today with me, Lionel, who has walked through the whole process and he has decided to come on and just help promote a little and share a little what his experience was. Because you don't want to hear from myself as the rep. You want to hear from the vets that are going through it on the other side. So I went through it with my husband about 10 years ago. So I've been a client as well from Remedical years ago. So I know what it's like. But this is a more recent journey. So my stuff's kind of getting foggy now. We're off into retirement land, and this is my justice ministry, I call it, helping vets with their claims. So now I want to hear from someone that's fresh, hot off the press with his claim. So thank you for joining, Lionel.
Thank you, Vanessa.
Um,
Thank you
so
for having me.
thank you. So going back, do you know about how long we've been communicating together? It's been mainly like text and email, and then I get to see you by face once in a while. So about how long did we start this journey together?
So you and I began working together, I believe, in January, February timeframe. I actually reached out to Ree prior to this, and I did not have any sort of feedback. But once you contact me, it was great just to have someone finally reach out to me about my claim.
Okay, yeah, awesome. I know they did some turnover. We did some merging. We've grown from like 150 employees to about 300, so we can take a little more individual attention with each vet. So I'm glad that they passed you on to me and I was able to help. Where were you before we met with your disability claim? Like, what kind of feelings were you going through? What kind of process were you going through on your own?
Thanks for asking. One of the challenges I had initially when I started working with Bree, I was at 90%. I had submitted various claims since I would say 2016. And then 2022 was when I retired from the military. And I submitted a large packet of various issues that I was having. And it just kept getting kicked back. It started out with around roughly 60%, moved up to around 80%, then was stuck at 80% for a while I went back and forth with the VA. And then finally, uh, after I had to go through all of my medical records, and then send them information that was already provided. They bumped it up to 90%, although there was a reasonable number of claims that they denied. And just understanding the whole process of what the VA is looking for to process your claim to move you to your actual claims, injuries and sufferings that you had throughout your military service was a bit of a challenge. So working with you, working with Reed to get the sort of answers you needed to ensure that you had in your packets was very helpful.
Awesome. So yeah, so from what I'm understanding from you and a lot of vets, they might get a really low rating or 10% or 60 and realize, man, I've got some injuries going on and this was not looked at correctly. So you invested in yourself and really fought for what you deserved. So that takes a lot of work, takes a lot of effort, and it's definitely um, there's feelings of hopelessness and frustration when you're doing it on your own. So, sometimes it's worth just paying a little extra and getting a team to help you get to the results that, you deserve. I like to say, I serve because you deserve. So I'm glad that you didn't give up at like the 60% or the 80%. You feel your injuries. You wake up every day with them. You feel the pain and ailments. So you know in your heart what you were going for. And then I got that text from you just the other day saying, thank you, 100%. So all that work. Oh my gosh. How does that feel now that you have received your rating letter increase? What does that feel like?
It's great to really feel as though that the service that you've provided to the U.S. has finally paid off, and you're getting some just due. It's always important to kind of keep in mind that when you finish your military service, you really have to push now before it's too late in your time. If you wait, the longer you wait to try to get the appropriate claims, the harder it's going to get. And that was one of my concerns,
Mm.
is that as I got older and the injuries become more pronounced and I'm more suffering more, it would be more difficult to push to get this approved. So that's why I wanted to get it done as early as possible, so I could put that in the back burner. So that was one of the benefits of seeing that letter and realizing, okay, yes, I've hit that milestone. This is where I needed to be, and I don't have to think about it when I'm at 70 or 80. when it really hits me hard and I'm struggling to really survive.
Yeah. I love the way you say that. The longer you take to wait to do this, the harder it gets. So really good point. Good takeaway. Someone had reached out to me for somebody in their 80s that is still working on their claim. They've just been hopeless about it all. And I followed up and said, I'm trying to connect with this person. Can I get their contact information? Because they kept saying, I got to connect you with this guy. He's in his 80s. He was in a senior living center. And then the last text I just got was he died. He recently died. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like, yeah, waiting till your 70s and 80s. And then by then you're thinking about the afterworld and other things. And this just does not take precedence. So take care of this while you're younger. Yes, that was great advice. What do you think is who is the best fit to be working with myself and Ree, if you can put yourself in another client's position?
I think if you've submitted multiple packets to the VA and they're getting denied, and you're not understanding why they're denying these claims, it's great to reach out to an expert and get that insight on what's needed in the packet in order to have it approved. And that was one of the benefits that I had working with Ree and Vanessa, was that they gave me the insight that I needed to have in order to process the claim. I've tried in other avenues, working either with VFW or American Legions. And of course, they're looking to help, but they're not really. Uh, when you look at the volume of claims that they're claimants they're working with, it's just overwhelming for those individuals to really give you personalized sort of assistance. And I found that
Mhm.
working with Vanessa and Marie has given me that personalized assistance, and things move fairly quickly. February, I signed the paperwork, said I'm ready to work through this. Paperwork was submitted. I think packets were submitted to VA in June. And then you look a little further down the road, 3 or 4 months later. In my case, I felt fairly quick, but it seemed as though that the time frame that I delayed not reaching out to Reed or having Reed reach out to me sooner delayed my packet from getting processed quicker.
Mhm.
So I'd say do it as quickly as possible. If you had any sort of claims that you feel that needs to be approved that has not been processed, reach out to Rhea and Vanessa, and they'll help you work through it.
Yeah. And I will add, now that we've doubled in our force, we also have an expedite option. So vets can pay an extra $500 to be expedited and go through the system, kind of jump into the front of the line for every step. So now we're processing some of our vets in like 1 to 2 months because of the expedite. Of course, we still need the vet's assistance to get those DBQs all filled out, but we hold your hand through that and make sure that gets done. And we have quality control for all that as well, for all those steps. So we do have an expedite plan. We handle right now initial claims as well. We weren't doing initial claims before. So if you've ever had a client claim that even was never documented, but you've got lots of paperwork, you've got private doctor appointment confirmation letters, you've got VA letters, appointments, doctors, all that. We will look at that and help you with initial claims, which is cool. And we do work with denials, but they have to be older denials. Anything after like 7 years and longer. If not, it's a nexus letter. And we have referrals for you as well for those vets that are having recent denials and need a nexus letter. So yeah, so that's about it. What would you tell someone who's just sitting on the fence? Like, there's this financial obligation. Some guys are laid off. I mean, I have one guy, he just lost his job, but he lost his job because of his PTS and all that. It's like a cycle. So he's like, I got to get this claim stuff straightened out because he keeps losing jobs because of all the PTS. He's like 100% PTS when he checked all the boxes. It's like, oh my gosh, let's get your disability together, get you, that ease and flow and peace of mind for that. And now he's going to be working with a mentor to get back in the job force and get some resources. But who would you say, like, how, if someone's on the fence, they just don't want to put down that 2,000 change or 3,000 change for two doctors or one doctor, what would you tell them?
That's a toughie. That was always one of my concerns, is the out of cost associated with processing your claim. I would say you really have to look at the benefits associated with sitting on the fence. When I say benefits, actually the benefits are not moving forward. Well, I'm keep saying this backwards, but anyway, basically, if you don't move forward and you let that linger, that just means that there's more VA funds that you could have been receiving that's sitting on the back fence. You're not receiving that earlier. If I would have had this process maybe 2 years earlier, it would have been an extra sum of money coming in every month for over that 2 year period, which would have definitely been beneficial over that time frame. So basically, sitting on the fence, it's a big out of when I say big, it's out of cost, upfront out of cost that you have to consider. But once you move forward, once your claim is processed, we will give you an excellent assessment of where they see your potential of receiving additional funds from the VA claim, which you can factor into your decision. And they've been pretty honest with me. I've actually made several referrals to Vanessa and Reed associated with friends and family that have processed claims in the past and had them denied. And they're working with them to help them receive the just payments associated with their military service.
Yes, I really appreciate that insight. It's hard being on the fence, and I was on the fence too with my husband. He waited like, well, 5 years before he even reached out for help, and I was the wife nagging in the background. Come on, 60% really? You were in an ID explosion. You've been into combat zones multiple times. What is this? And he just didn't want to talk about it. It became like a contentious subject. We just had to zip it. Thank God another vet stepped into his life who he trusted. And it was that person that planted the seed that said, hey, at least give them a call. It's a free consultation. So yeah, I do have to say we do turn clients away where I can see from my own personal experience. I've sent people to and they're like, we're not gonna, he's already maxed out with his disabilities. We can't help him, or he needs to go this route. So I feel like they are not just money hungry for every vet. If we don't have a high percentage rate, confidence that we can increase your rating, we're gonna say no, we can't help you. So I'm glad that you felt that same thing that they felt. You felt honest working with them. So that's huge because there's a lot of skepticism around military veterans. It's like high on the checklist, like lack of trust, who's out to get me, all that stuff. So you kind of got to work through that mindset too. So thank you so much, Lionel, for taking a few minutes to go over your experience with me. I really appreciate it. And yeah, what are you going to do with some of that extra cash now? Are you paying off debt? Are you going to set aside for vacation? What are you going to do? Put kids through school? There's so many benefits. Hunting and fishing license. What do you see in the near future?
That's great. I hadn't really thought through exactly what the extra funds would do, along with all of the extra perks that you receive when you hit 100%. But I will research it in depth, whether or not it's maybe reducing some of my expenses associated with homeowners insurance, not homeowners insurance, but taxes, and looking at other avenues that could benefit me over the long haul. So I will definitely look into it, and definitely one of the main things I will do is improve my medical health and mental health. So I'm going to look at ways that I can use those funds to improve my quality of life.
Oh gosh, that's an awesome ending. Thank you so much. Quality of life. That's what we want. We want quality of life for our vets so that they can, I say, go from back end battlefield to blissful retirement. So I'm sitting here with birds chirping around me on the Gulf side of Florida. They're waking up, about to go to the bird feeders. So thank you so much for your time, and be safe out there, be well. And I'm just really proud of everything you've done for yourself and invest in yourself. Thank you, Lionel.
Thank you, Vanessa. You have a great day. Bye.
You too.